Welcome to the world of spooky camping stories, where the darkness of the woods holds chilling secrets and the shadows come alive with eerie whispers. Gather around the campfire and brace yourself for a night filled with bone-chilling tales that will send shivers down your spine. So get ready to experience the thrill of scary camping stories that will leave you looking over your shoulder long after the fire dies down. Viewer discretion is advised. I still remember the camping trips with my dad like they were yesterday. Those weekends were the highlight of my childhood. We had our secret spot, a secluded campsite in the middle of the forest, where we could truly connect with nature. It was our father-son tradition, and the memories were etched deep in my heart. But life moves on, and 4 months ago, my dad passed away, leaving behind a void that could never be filled. Now, in my late 20s, I have a family of my own. I married the girl of my dreams, Lily, and we have an amazing 8-year-old son, Max. We still live in the town I grew up in, and the memories of those camping trips are still fresh in my mind. Max is on Thanksgiving break, and he spends most of his time cooped up in his room. I want to share the joy of camping and the special bond I had with my dad. So I talked to Lily about taking him on a father-son camping trip. She's supportive of the idea and agrees to stay home for the weekend while Max and I embark on our adventure. The morning of the trip arrives, and I wake up to Max jumping on our bed, brimming with excitement. We pack everything we need, and by 8 a.m. we're heading out the door. The forest is about 45 minutes away from our house, and as we drive, I can feel the anticipation building up in both of us. Once we arrive and unload the car, Max is eager to explore. He dashes ahead, and for a brief moment I lose sight of him, but soon I catch up and we continue our journey through the woods. Memories of my dad flood my mind as we reach the sacred campsite. We set up our tent and decide to go fishing. Max's eyes light up with curiosity as I share stories of my past adventures with my dad. He listens intently, and I can see he's eager to create his own memories. We cast our fishing rods and wait patiently for the fish to bite. Max asks me to share more stories, and I'm more than happy to oblige. The time passes quickly, and soon Max catches his first fish with my assistance. I'm proud of him, and we head back to the tent to cook and share more stories. As night falls, we decide to rest. However, in the middle of the night, I wake up to a strange sound. Stepping outside the tent, I spot a figure a few feet away. Fear washes over me, but I try to remain brave. I call out, but there's no response. The figure disappears as soon as I throw a rock in its direction. Uneasy, but not wanting to worry Max, I return to the tent. To my shock, Max is gone. Panic sets in, and I frantically search for him. I find him in the forest, seemingly entranced, talking to someone or something I can't see. No matter how much I call, he doesn't respond to me. It's as if he's under some mysterious influence. I try to reach out and grab him, but my hand passes through him. Max's words become eerie and unsettling, claiming he has a new family now and that he can't leave. I'm heartbroken and desperate to take him back to safety, but he vanishes before my eyes. Distraught, I run back to the campsite, hoping to find Max there. But when I enter the tent, I'm met with a horrifying scene. Max lying motionless, surrounded by blood. Panic overwhelms me, and I grab my phone to call for help, but there's no signal. Determined to get help, I sprint back to the car, and that's when I see them, the figure from earlier, along with others, including Max. They're standing at the edge of the woods, waving at me. It's chilling, and Max's words haunt me. See you later, Dad, or maybe not. Confused and terrified, I black out. When I wake up, the police are there, putting handcuffs on my wrists, and Lily is screaming at me, accusing me of harming Max. I try to explain what happened, but no one believes me. The world around me has turned into a nightmare, and I find myself in a psychiatric ward, grappling with the painful loss of my son and the inexplicable events of that fateful camping trip. The memories, both sweet and bitter, now torment me every day. In the heart of Maplewood Forest, where the trees whispered ancient secrets and the air hummed with mystery, I found myself on an adventure I could never forget. My name is Ethan, and I've always been drawn to tales of the supernatural and the unknown. So when winter break came, I convinced my parents to let me spend a week at my adventurous Uncle Tom's cabin in the forest. As we drove down the isolated dirt road, excitement and trepidation swirled inside me. The legend of strange occurrences and eerie figures among the trees intrigued me, and I couldn't wait to explore the depths of Maplewood Forest. My uncle welcomed me warmly, but I couldn't help but notice a hint of worry in his eyes. The first few days were everything I had hoped for. Uncle Tom and I ventured through the woods, marveling at the different bird species we encountered. We laughed around the campfire, sharing stories that seemed to come alive under the starlit sky. But as the days passed, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. I noticed my uncle muttering to himself, and his laughter seemed forced, as if he was trying to conceal something. The carefree spirit he had shown me in the past had vanished, replaced by a quiet reserve that puzzled me. I tried to ignore it, hoping it was just my imagination playing tricks on me. The nights grew colder, and Uncle Tom became more cautious. Enforcing a strict curfew of 6 o'clock, he urged me to stay inside the cabin after dark, attributing it to the freezing weather. But deep down, I knew there was something he wasn't telling me. One night, as I read a book by flashlight, I looked out the window and saw a pair of bright eyes staring back at me. I told myself it was just wildlife, but the uneasy feeling lingered. The combination of my uncle's strange behavior and the sensation of being watched sent shivers down my spine. The next day, my uncle appeared anxious, revealing he would be going hunting and returning in the evening. As the day wore on, I explored the cabin surroundings, trying to shake off the growing sense of unease. That's when I discovered peculiar footprints outside, 2 bare footprints that didn't match any known wildlife track. As night fell, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. At maybe 10 at night, I heard a knock on the door. My uncle kept a key underneath the welcome mat. He never knocked. His boisterous self wouldn't let him knock on the door of his own house. Silently, I made my way to my bathroom, locking the door behind me, making sure that there weren't any windows in it. I was clutching an aluminum bat that my uncle never used, for the vague hope that if someone or something got into the house, I could defend myself. The knocking got more violent. Something was slamming on the door. Then, as abruptly as it started, it stopped. Then I heard it again. This time, it was on the other side of the house. Glass shattering. A loud thud. My heart was pumping. I turned off the light in the bathroom as footsteps creaked on the floorboards outside. It walked right by my door, a shadow blocking the light from filtering in the bottom of the doorframe. I knew better than to make noise. They hung around for a good few hours. My adrenaline wore out after a while, with just pure fear remaining. If only my uncle was there. Luckily, I had turned off the light in my room. There was nothing that signified I was in the house, but I still held my breath until they scampered back out the window. At least, that was what it sounded like. I didn't take the risk of leaving. I slept in the bathtub that night. The next morning, I woke up to my mom yelling and knocking on the door. Opening the bathroom door, the floor was covered in blood. A trail of sticky crimson, still damp on the wooden floor. I nearly threw up running to the door. My mom stood in front of me and raged at how I hadn't responded. Where was Uncle Tom? Why did I sleep in so late? I just hugged her, sobbing. She pretty quickly realized that things weren't normal. After taking a look inside the cabin, she called the local police. I still remember the cold interrogation room. Where was I that night? What happened to my uncle, whose blood was on the floor? I answered everything honestly, my eyes blurred with tears and my nose clumped with snot. It was horrible. I was dismissed as a suspect. I think they felt bad for me, crying my eyes out in front of them. Years have passed, but the memories of Maplewood Forest still linger. The legend of strange occurrences and eerie figures remains etched in my mind. I may never know the truth of what happened to my uncle or the enigmatic presence that roamed the woods, but I've learned to embrace the mysteries of life while cherishing the memories of my brave and adventurous uncle and our unforgettable time in the haunting woods of Maplewood Forest. Thank you for joining us around the campfire for these spine-tingling camping stories. We hope they filled your night with chills and excitement. If you enjoyed the thrill, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more eerie adventures and scary tales. Stay brave and curious, and may your next camping trip be filled with unforgettable memories.